What if I told you that the money choices you make right now, today, will decide whether you're stressed about money for the rest of your life or whether you get to sleep peacefully every night? And what if the difference between these two futures comes down to just $10 a week? I'm here at Stickcoin because I've seen too many people hit 30 and realize they completely wasted their 20s when it comes to money. I don't want that to be you. If you're in your 20s right now, this video could literally change the next 50 years of your life, but only if you actually listen and take action. The harsh reality is that most people your age are making the same costly mistakes right now. They're thinking they have plenty of time to figure out money later. They're waiting for the perfect moment to start. They're convinced that success means looking successful today, not actually building wealth for tomorrow. And by the time they wake up, they've lost the most powerful tool they'll ever have: time. Look, I get it. You're 20-something, and money feels impossible. Maybe you're drowning in student loans. Maybe you're working a job that barely pays the bills. Maybe everyone around you seems to have it figured out while you're eating ramen again. Maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck and wondering how people your age are already buying houses or taking expensive vacations. Maybe you feel like you're behind before you've even started. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Most people your age are just as confused about money as you are. They're just better at hiding it. That friend posting vacation photos, they probably put it all on a credit card. That coworker with the nice car, they might be spending half their paycheck on car payments. The people who look like they have it all figured out are often the ones making the biggest financial mistakes. But here's what's different about your 20s. You have something that people in their 30s and 40s would pay millions to get back: time. And time, when it comes to money, is pure magic. Every single day you wait to start building wealth is a day you can never get back. But every single day you start taking action, even tiny action, is a day that compounds into something incredible over decades. Let me tell you about two people. Meet Sam and Casey. They're both 22 and just graduated college with similar jobs making about the same money. Sam decides to start putting $50 a month into investments. Just $50. That's like skipping 2 meals out each month or buying one less outfit. Casey thinks $50 is nothing and decides to wait until later when they're making more money to start investing. Sam keeps putting away $50 every month. Nothing fancy. Just $50 into a simple investment account that tracks the stock market. Casey lives paycheck to paycheck, always thinking they'll start next month, next year, when they get that promotion, when they pay off their car, when things get easier. There's always a reason to wait. Fast forward to when they're both 32. Sam has put away $6,000 total over 10 years. Casey finally starts investing, but now puts away $100 every month because they're making more money. Casey thinks they're being smart by waiting until they could afford to put away more. Here's where it gets crazy. By the time they're both 65, Sam has over $400,000. Casey, even though they put away twice as much each month for 33 years and put in significantly more total money, ends up with only $350,000. Sam wins by $50,000 just because they started 10 years earlier with half the monthly amount. This isn't made up. This is basic math. This is what happens when you understand how money actually works. This is the power of something called compounding. Think of it like planting a tree. If you plant an apple tree today, in 40 years you'll have a massive tree giving you hundreds of apples every year. But if you wait 10 years to plant that same tree, you lose 10 years of growth that you can never get back. Your money works the same way. Every dollar you invest today gets more time to grow than every dollar you invest tomorrow. But here's what nobody explains clearly. Compounding isn't just about the money you put in, it's about the money your money makes, and then the money that money makes, and so on. Let's say you invest $100 and it grows by 10%. Now, you have $110. Next year, that 10% growth happens on the full $110, not just your original 100. So you get $11 in growth instead of 10. It might not sound like much, but over decades, this snowball effect becomes enormous. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you have a job that pays you to do nothing. Every year, This job pays you more than the year before, and you never have to show up, never have to stress, never have to worry about getting fired. That's what investing early gives you. Your money becomes your employee, working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you sleep. The key insight that most people miss is this. In the early years, you're not investing for the money you put in. You're investing for the decades of growth that money will experience. When Sam put in that first $50 at age 22, that specific $50 will have grown for 43 years by retirement. When Casey put in their first $100 at age 32, that money only gets 33 years to grow. 10 fewer years of growth makes an enormous difference. This is why saving small amounts early beats saving big amounts later. Your future self will thank you for every single dollar you start investing today, even if it feels pointless right now, even if your friends think you're crazy for putting money away when you're young. Now let's talk about budgeting, and I promise this won't be boring. Budgeting isn't about restricting yourself. It's about giving yourself permission to spend on things you actually care about while cutting out the stuff that doesn't matter to you. Think of your money like water flowing through your hands. Without a budget, you have no idea where it's going. With a budget, you get to direct that flow exactly where you want it to go. Here's the simplest way to start. Write down everything you spend money on for 1 week. Everything. That coffee, that app subscription you forgot about, that impulse buy on Amazon, that parking fee, that late-night food delivery. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. Most people are shocked when they see where their money actually goes versus where they think it goes. I had a friend who was convinced she was broke because she didn't make enough money. When she tracked her spending for 2 weeks, she discovered she was spending over $300 a month on food delivery. $300. She had no idea because it was $5 here, $15 there, $10 here. Small amounts that felt like nothing in the moment, but added up to a huge chunk of her income. Once you know where your money goes, you can make conscious choices. Maybe you're spending $60 a month on coffee shop visits, but you don't even enjoy half of them. You just buy coffee out of habit. Maybe you have 3 streaming services but only use 1. Maybe you're paying for a gym membership you haven't used in 6 months. This isn't about becoming cheap. It's about spending your money on purpose instead of by accident. The goal isn't to never spend money on things you enjoy. The goal is to spend money on things you actually enjoy and stop spending money on things you don't even notice. When you do this, you'll find money you didn't even know you had. But your 20s come with special money traps that are designed to keep you broke. The biggest one is what I call the lifestyle trap. This is when you start spending money to look successful instead of spending money to become successful. You get your first real job and suddenly you think you need the nice car, the expensive apartment, the designer clothes, the latest phone, the trendy gadgets. You want to look like you've made it. You want to prove to yourself and everyone else that you're an adult who has their life together. But here's the cruel truth. The people who look rich in their 20s usually end up broke in their 50s. And the people who live below their means in their 20s get to be actually rich later. Social media makes this trap even worse. You see everyone posting their highlight reels, their vacations, their new purchases, their perfect apartments, their expensive dinners. What you don't see are their credit card statements, their sleepless nights worrying about money, their calls from debt collectors, their anxiety attacks about how they're going to pay rent next month. Here's a hard truth that might sting. Nobody cares about your stuff as much as you think they do. That expensive car you bought to impress people, most people don't notice, and the ones who do forget about it 5 minutes later. But you'll be paying for that car for years. That designer outfit you bought for one event, nobody remembers what you wore except you. That expensive apartment in the trendy neighborhood, people visit once and then forget about it. Instead of trying to look rich, focus on becoming rich. Drive the reliable used car that gets you from point A to point B without a huge monthly payment. Live in the smaller apartment or with roommates and save the difference. Wear clothes that fit well, but don't break the bank. Use the money you save to build your future instead of funding your image. I know this is hard advice to follow. I know you want to enjoy your life. I know you want nice things. But here's what I've learned. The people who sacrifice a little comfort in their 20s get to have a lot more comfort for the rest of their lives. The people who prioritize comfort in their 20s often struggle with money forever. Let's talk about debt, because this is where many people in their 20s mess up big time. Not all debt is bad. If you took out student loans to get an education that increased your earning power, that can be good debt. If you buy a house you can afford and it helps you build wealth over time, that can be good debt. Good debt is debt that helps you make more money or build wealth in the long run. Bad debt is debt you take on to buy things that lose value or things you don't actually need. Credit card debt for clothes, cars you can't afford, expensive vacations you put on plastic, furniture, electronics, nights out at expensive restaurants. This kind of debt is like a vampire that sucks the life out of your financial future. Credit card companies love people in their 20s because you don't understand how expensive their money really is. They send you pre-approved offers that make you feel special. They give you credit limits that seem huge compared to your income. They make it feel like free money, but it's the most expensive money you'll ever borrow. If you have a credit card with 20% interest and you only pay the minimum, it can take decades to pay off even small balances. A $1,000 credit card balance paying only minimums takes over 5 years to pay off and costs you hundreds in extra interest. That means a $500 shopping spree actually costs you $800 when you factor in interest and fees. Here's what credit card companies don't want you to know. That minimum payment is designed to keep you in debt forever. It's calculated to barely cover the interest, so your balance hardly goes down. They make money by keeping you trapped in debt for as long as possible. Here's your rule for credit cards. Only charge what you can pay off in full every month. If you can't pay cash for something, you can't afford to put it on a credit card either. Use credit cards for convenience and to build credit history, not to buy things you can't afford. And if you already have credit card debt, paying it off should be your #1 financial priority, because that interest rate is probably higher than any investment return you'll get. Now let me give you the simple habits that will make you wealthy over time. These aren't complicated strategies that require a finance degree. These are simple things anyone can do, but most people don't do them because they seem too easy or too boring. First, automate your savings. Set up your bank account so money goes into savings before you even see it. Even if it's just $25 a week, automate it. You can't spend what you don't see. This is the most important habit because it removes the decision from your daily life. You don't have to remember to save or find the willpower to save. It just happens automatically. Second, track your spending for at least 1 month every year. You don't need to do it forever, but check in regularly to make sure your money is still going where you want it to go. Most people set up a budget once and then never look at it again. Your spending habits change over time, so you need to check in and adjust. Third, learn to love boring investments. Index funds might not be exciting, but they're like the reliable friend who shows up every time. They grow steadily over decades without you having to think about them. You don't need to pick individual stocks or try to time the market. Just put your money in a broad market index fund and let it grow. Fourth, increase your income whenever possible. Ask for raises, learn new skills, take on side projects, get certifications that make you more valuable. The more you earn, the more you can save, and the faster you build wealth. Don't just focus on cutting expenses. Focus on growing your income too. Fifth, surround yourself with people who make smart money choices. If all your friends are broke and always pressuring you to spend money you don't have, find some new friends who understand delayed gratification. The people you spend time with influence your financial decisions more than you realize. Sixth, pay yourself first. Before you pay any bills, before you spend money on anything else, put money into savings and investments. Most people save whatever is left over at the end of the month. But there's never anything left over. Instead, save first, then spend what's left. Seventh, live below your means, not within your means. If you make $3,000 a month, Don't spend $3,000 a month. Spend $2,500 and save $500. This gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth comes from. Let me paint you a picture of what's possible if you start now. Imagine you're 35 and you have no debt except maybe a reasonable mortgage. Imagine having 6 months of expenses saved up so you never have to stress about losing your job. Imagine being able to take a vacation without putting it on a credit card. Imagine sleeping well at night because you know you're prepared for whatever life throws at you. Now imagine you're 50 and you realize you could retire early if you wanted to because you've been investing consistently for 30 years. Imagine having enough money that you can help your kids with college without going into debt. Imagine being able to quit a job you hate because you have financial freedom. Imagine being able to take care of your parents when they get older without it being a financial burden. This isn't fantasy. This is what happens when you start making smart money choices in your 20s and stick with them. I've seen it happen over and over again. The people who start early don't have to stress about money later. They don't have to work jobs they hate just to pay the bills. They have options. But maybe you're thinking it's too late because you've already made some money mistakes. Maybe you already have credit card debt. Maybe you've been spending without thinking. Maybe you're 28 and feel like you've wasted your early 20s. Maybe you're comparing yourself to people who seem to have it all figured out. Here's what I want you to know. It's okay to be behind, but it's not okay to stay behind. Every day you wait makes it harder, but every day you take action makes it easier. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. You don't need to save huge amounts. You just need to save something consistently. The best time to start was 5 years ago. The second best time is today, right now. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when you get your next paycheck. Today. If you're ready to stop wasting time and start building wealth, here's what you can do right after this video ends. First, open a high-yield savings account if you don't have one. Even if you only put $10 in it, just open it. This breaks the mental barrier of getting started. Second, write down one financial goal you want to achieve in the next year. Make it specific and realistic. Not save more money, but save $1,000 by December. Third, track every penny you spend for the next 7 days. Don't change your spending, just observe it. You might be shocked at what you discover. Fourth, set up an automatic transfer of any amount, even $5 a week, from your checking to your savings. The amount doesn't matter as much as building the habit. You can increase it later. Fifth, if you have credit card debt, call your credit card company and ask if they can lower your interest rate. The worst they can say is no, but they often say yes, especially if you've been a good customer. Sixth, calculate your net worth. Add up everything you own and subtract everything you owe. This might be depressing if you're just starting out, but you need to know where you are before you can figure out where you're going. Seventh, research investment accounts. You don't have to open one today, but start learning about your options. Knowledge removes fear, and fear is what keeps most people from investing. Eighth, find one money mentor. This could be a book, a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a person in your life who's good with money. You need to keep learning because personal finance is a skill. And like any skill, you get better with practice and education. Before you go, I want to ask you something. What's one money mistake you've already made, or one money mistake you've successfully avoided? Share it in the comments because your experience might help someone else who's watching this video. Remember, you don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to become a financial expert overnight. You just need to start. Every small step you take today is a gift to your future self. Every dollar you save today is a dollar that will work for you for the rest of your life. Your 20s are not practice years. They're the foundation years. What you build now determines everything that comes after. You have an incredible opportunity right in front of you, but only if you take it. 10 years from now, you'll either be grateful you started today or you'll wish you had. The people who build wealth aren't smarter than you. They aren't luckier than you. They just started earlier and stayed consistent. They understood that boring beats exciting when it comes to money. They understood that slow and steady wins the race. They understood that the best investment strategy is time plus consistency. Thanks for watching Stickcoin. If this helped you, there's plenty more where this came from. We're here to make money simple, one stick figure at a time. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. Don't let them down. Start today, stay consistent, and watch your life change $1 at a time.